Here we are, gang. Lesson 14. You made it. 14 lessons in. Congratulations. Well, you're not done yet, so stick with me. So what is lesson 14 all about? You may have remembered that I said it was kind of like the last day of school. Well, I'm one of those teachers that still makes you work on the last day of school. So there's still some things to cover, and this is more of just kind of planning ahead on your journey for learning Ecamm, getting really good at Ecamm, and frankly, being competent at it. You should be, at this point, relatively comfortable with utilizing the tools. Now, if you're like me, and most people are, because like I said many, many times, I know the system works, you learn by doing. So it might be best if you're not completely comfortable and you hear me saying, well, welcome to your final lesson and you should be good to go. And you're like, I ain't ready. I'm not ready in this. That's fine. That's fine. You got to learn by doing. Keep practicing. Keep at it. You're going to be good at it. It's only a matter of time. It just takes some comfort. And obviously, once you get through the technicalities of using Ecamm, then you can just be yourself. And that's really the part that is the hardest to do, is because you got to master. Well, caught myself. Can't master anything. There's always somebody better at you at least one thing. But you will be so competent with the software that you're not going to worry about what the software is doing. You're going to worry about what you're doing. And if you're competent in your own presentation skills, then you really don't have much to worry about. It's the content that's going to become what defines you and what sets you apart from other people who are producing similar content out there. Content is king. This has been said multiple times all over the place. You could have the flashiest, fanciest setup and have all these cool little whiz-bang features and hardware in your studio. But if you're a lifeless schlub on camera, nobody's going to watch. And if you're doing this to get views and subscribers and likes, you know, all that mantra that every YouTuber says, man, if you don't have a good online presence, you're going to be kind of screwed. So I really do think that that's the part that you need to get comfortable with. And so if you're still having technical issues with Ecamm, this is the opportunity for you to go back, review those technical issues, and then see, are there ways to avoid that? Are there ways to improve my experience with Ecamm? So what I'm going to do here is give you a little bit of a studio tour just so you can see what it is that I've been doing this entire time to do these 14 lessons for you. Now, a lot of the equipment that I have set up here, I've accumulated over months and years. And so I don't expect this out of you. Now, if you have the budget to go ahead and purchase a lot of this equipment up front, great. But as a good friend of mine likes to say, or upgrade your skills before you upgrade your gear. And that's really true here. You want to upgrade your skills before you start buying a bunch of gear. And certainly if you can avoid it, don't buy on credit, because you never know what's going to happen. All right? That's just, I'm not Dave Ramsey. I don't play him on TV. I'm not going to be your financial advisor. I just know from personal experience that you don't know when that first check is going to come necessarily because of the content you're creating. So you have to keep that in mind. Even if you are the best online presence that's hit the internet in years, still going to take a little bit of time for things to get rolling. Now, if you're a superstar and everybody already knows you, and this is just an extension of your marketing through delivering to other people, cool, that's fine. You know, you can certainly do that. And you probably will utterly fail if you don't feel confident in front of the camera all by yourself. No director, no staff, no sound engineers. It's all you. All right. So this is a little bit different from being in a production environment where you've got multiple people handling individual tasks. You're handling everything. Okay, so before you get ahead of yourself, let's take a look at what kinds of things you can get by going through my studio tour, and I'll explain some of these things. I think there are a few devices that you can get right away that are relatively inexpensive that will enhance your experience with Ecamm to the point where a lot of the things that you might be finding cumbersome right now, those things will kind of fall by the wayside because you have this piece of hardware. And I'm not talking thousands of dollars. I'm talking hundreds, at best, hundreds of dollars. And then we can talk about some of the other stuff that's in here. Okay, let's do a quick little studio tour, and then I'll start talking about some devices. We'll wrap this up just by where to go next. And that's something that I think is important. I'm not leaving you. We're done with this lesson together, and I'm proud that you made it this far. But now you're going to be out in the wild, and you're going to probably have questions about things that you were running into. That's fine. I'm always around for that. And there are tons of Ecamm members that are willing to help you beyond what this course entails. And so I'm going to show you where to reach out and where you can get additional information, all of those things, and what forums to be part of and all that stuff. So we got a little bit to cover here before we're actually able to start breaking out the pizza and celebrating that we made it to the end. So let's get rolling. Okay, as promised, quick little studio tour. I wanted you to see what I've been looking at this entire series, and also give you some ideas on where you might want to take things when you're setting up your studio if you haven't already gotten into it. And even if you have, maybe some of the stuff I'm working with might be good for you to consider down the road. Certainly if you have a great budget, then sky's the limit, really. But I think, like I was saying in the intro, you're just getting started, so maybe go light on some of the equipment until you know where your pain points are and the things that are causing you the most consternation, and then you can go ahead and get a device or something that's going to help you with that. Okay, so I'm going to turn this camera around. And you're going to see, you're going to see from almost everybody else's vantage point when they first walk in. Okay, so this is what I work with, or what I walk into almost on a daily basis. So I have, first of all, the set. Well, we'll go to the set in a second. We'll start with the meat, right? So what I've got here, I've got 3 Thunderbolt monitors from Apple that I'm using. I've had a couple of these for a very long time. They're 15 years old, almost 15 years old at this point, and they're great monitors. The only thing is the heat dissipation on these. You can fry an egg on some parts of the top of this monitor. So it's great in the wintertime, and it's cold up here in Seattle, so it's fine. But if you're in a warmer climate, maybe not the best solution. And besides, if you're just getting into it, I wouldn't necessarily recommend these old monitors just because they're power hungry. I mean, everything else in here is more modern and uses far less electricity. Speaking of uses less electricity, you can see down below here is my Mac Mini, and that has been running the show, so to speak. So everything that I've been doing in the training series, all 3 of these monitors, plus my teleprompter, which is right here and right now just showing me the time, that is running all this stuff. Plus my soundboard, which is called a Rodecaster. This is a Rodecaster Pro 2. And this allows me to plug in microphones. I can have sound effects, don't want to get copyright strikes. I've got a bunch of other little devices I'll talk about in a second, but everything's hooked up to it. All my cameras, even this other laptop here that I do the lessons on, is connected into the Mac Mini. So this little thing, it's an M2 Pro. It is really doing quite a job. I'm very impressed with it. I would have gotten a 32 gigs of memory though. That's the only thing that I would recommend. Microphones. You can see here, and you've seen them pretty much every lesson that I've done. These microphones here are on this boom arm. I've got two. I've got one for this monitor and this shot with that camera. That's a Sony FX30. My main camera produces the best imagery I've got. You know, what I can see here, that is coming from that camera lens right there. So that is a Sony FX30 with a Sigma 16mm lens. I'm going to talk about some other camera options for you. This is my other microphone. Now these mics come from a company called Electro Voice. They are renowned microphones. They've been around in broadcast for years and years and years, and they sound simply amazing. They do require a lot of power to get them to work correctly, but they just sound great. And as much as I've tried some of the other microphones out there, and this is no slight on anybody else's product, I just find that this is best for my voice. There are other alternatives for microphones, but these also use a different kind of cable. It's not USB. It's called XLR, and you can see it right here. And the XLR cable is a traditional microphone cable, if you're not familiar with that. And that's going into my Rodecaster here. You can see him up here. So that's how I control all my audio. So I've got the two mics going. And then I've got an iPad here, and you see it's got a bunch of dots on it. I use this iPad for controlling my show. So I call it a show, but you know, this is essentially what's called the Stream Deck. This is a virtual Stream Deck. This allows me to trigger events on the computer and inside Ecamm with a single button. Awesome. Absolutely love this. And on an iPad, a full-size iPad, you can get 64 buttons on here, which is a lot, but it does work. And for the lessons, I've just been using a few buttons. Now, I have an actual physical Stream Deck here, and this one's nice because it has, as you can see here, it has it's got some knobs on the bottom here. This allows me to control things like different levels. I can scroll through text. Here I can turn on and off lights. And if they're part of the Elgato ecosystem, we can turn those lights and control the color, temperature, and everything from here. I can pause and record in Ecamm. I can also go live if I want to stream here. I can take screenshots from here. So there's lots of handy things, and this is completely programmable. And the best part is, if you, on this particular unit, this is a Stream Deck Plus, if I slide, I can go through pages and pages of banks of buttons that I program in using the interface on the Mac. So I've got another iPad here. This is a mini, and you can see I've got two little, these are Logitech Litra bulbs, and these are designed for my for when I'm sitting at the laptop so that I am properly lit. And that reminds me, I gotta move that back. Okay, so that's what I've been doing. And you know, you can see here I'm on my laptop now, and the laptop, like I said, is connected to the Mac Mini, and here's my iPhone, and that's what I've been using to record most of the training lessons. And then to get that keyboard shot where you can see the keyboard kind of like this, I've got another camera right here, and this is from a company called Insta360. It's their Link camera. It's a web camera, and it is pan, tilt, and zoom. And and obviously I was, I was using it the whole video series for you guys to be able to see where my hands were on the keys. Now, obviously, I also had the key buttons going, and that helps you see what buttons I'm pressing, because they're overlaid on top of the screen. But that's one of the things that I use just to kind of enhance the whole process. So let's take a look behind me, what's going on this set. So I've got these light bars here, and you can see they're colored. I have another one there. It's kind of an accent light. It's obviously much smaller, but it's designed to light up my Ecamm stuff that I have back here. This was part of this is the Ecamm Fam Gold mug that they give out to their top helpers online, and I achieved that a couple of months into becoming an Ecamm user, so that was pretty special to get that. Came with coffee, which Ecamm staff is very much in tune with. They love their coffee. And then, you might be wondering what's going on with the rest of the stuff. Like I said, I have another show that I do. Being from Louisiana, we do a show about Louisiana living, culture, lifestyles, that kind of stuff. It's called The Rainy Cajun, and that's where all these paintings that are on here, like Ain't Nothing a Po' Boy Can't Fix You. You haven't had a po' boy, by the way. It's really good. You have to look it up. And this is the Treme brass band. I've got a couple of more paintings here from another similar artist as the po' boy one, and I've got some tackers. And then one of my customers from when I was in my brewery days actually made this for me. It's a laser cut wood shape of Louisiana. And a couple little prized possessions back here that I don't know what I'm ever going to do with them, and it's hard to see when I'm on camera, is I actually have the original U2 iPod version that has their names engraved on the back, and then a Mac Cube. And for those of you who haven't been around long enough to know what that is, this computer made it into the Modern Museum of Art because of what it does. It was a fanless design. It was wildly overpriced at the time, but it was such a cool computer. And then I have, camera gear and things like that up here. So up top here, just a few more things. My lighting, there's an Elgato key light. I'll be talking about that in a second. I've got a couple of these other light types here with, notice the mesh pattern on there. That's removable, but it diffuses the light and then it focuses the light so it doesn't bleed onto my background. So my background can be a nice different color from my face, from my skin tones, right? These light styles, by the way, they're called parabolic lights. You can see I've got a smaller one and then a larger one here. And then I've got a couple of more key lights up here. I've got one here and another one there. That's for it's called my hair light, and that's for the remaining hair that I have on my head. And then that's it. I mean, one of the things that, if I look back to my original studio, and I keep all my recordings just because I can. Let me put this in the tripod here. I really do enjoy looking back at those those videos and seeing A, what I look like, and B, what the studio looked like. And even from the beginning of the year, which was only 4 months ago, the studio's changed a lot. And I usually adapt it to my needs. And now that I'm doing more training actively, I'll be spending a lot more time with this kind of setup, and I just have to work it so that I can still do the Cajun show, and then also be able to do the training and have minimal changeover. I'm all about efficiency. So that's the studio tour. Now let's go ahead and get into the discussion about what you might be interested in doing for your studio setup. And then we'll look at the Facebook groups and Discord and things like that, get a little bit more in depth, and then we'll be done. Sound good? All right, let's go. Okay, so we're in the home stretch here. And what I wanted to do now is two things. First of all, I want to give you some hardware recommendations to get started. If you haven't started to build out your studio, or you're thinking about maybe some little upgrades here and there, just give you some ideas. This is by far not even a remotely complete list, but it's designed to kind of get you thinking. I would encourage you to support local retailers in the event that you have one close by where you can go try this stuff out, especially camera shops if you're going to be getting into doing your own or getting your own cameras, like a higher end camera like I'm talking on now, the FX30. So I'd start with that. And then talking about microphones, I know that I mentioned in the studio walkthrough that I'm using the Electro Voice, the EV, or the Electro Voice RE20. I keep calling it EV RE20, but I don't think I ever saw EV. I think we just shorten it to that. And the quality of the output from this microphone is, for me, exactly what I need for this type of training, as well as being able to use it for podcasts, product reviews, things like that. But you don't need to go like this. This is with the mount and everything like this, and then the mic boom arm. You're probably looking at $600-700, which in the grand scheme of things in the professional videography world, that's very cheap. But when you can buy a nice microphone from Rode, for instance, for $99, is there a difference? Of course there's a difference, and there are tons of mic reviews out there. But like I said early on at the beginning of the lesson series, I have some favorites that I would recommend that you would at least try out. And so for me, for instance, the Video Mic Go-To or the Video Mic NTG, those are simply just, I mean, they're good fixed shotgun mics, and you can place them in what they call a cold shoe mount. So you can put it on top of your camera, aim it right at you. If you ever take your camera out on a shoot somewhere or on location somewhere, what's really nice about them is that they do work in that scenario. They're designed for that, actually. So the Video Mic is self-powered, and the Video Mic Go-To is self-powered. The NTG has a built-in battery. You can see they're kind of a similar look. That's the ones that are down in the bottom right here. You can see my pointer right here. So this is the Video Mic Go-To, and that is the NTG. They're the same diameter, essentially. The NTG is just longer. NTG has some built-in effects on it and built-in filters on it that you just press some buttons and it cycles through that, and you don't need to use any software to configure a lot of the features of the NTG. But they both sound really, really good. So that's a consideration. You have to keep in mind that ambient noise is always the enemy of shotgun mics. And the further you get from it, the more ambient noise you're going to pick up, because even though it's called a supercardioid pattern where it's very focused, obviously it branches out as it gets further away from the microphone. So ambient noises around you are definitely your enemy. And they do come, but they both come with wind blockers. They just look like, well, they look like skinny versions of these, right? So either one of those would work for you if you're just getting rolling. If you want something that's wireless and not wired and closer to you, you can go with the other two solutions that I have on the screen. I've got the DJI mic, which I showed you earlier. This is the mic version 1. They have a version 2 out now. I've heard mixed reviews on the 2. I actually have a single version of the 2, and and all things being equal, with this only being $250 for the set, which includes 2 mics plus the receiver, and this case itself is actually a charging case, this is not a bad deal, and they sound really, really good. Matter of fact, the little studio tour that I did was on that the DJI mic. So the battery life is really good on them, and with the charging case, you can't go wrong with those. And then Shure makes let's see, I'm gonna step through here. The Shure and the Shure Move mic is one that I have not tested personally, but I've heard a lot of other people in the Ecamm community comment on it, and it's a relatively new microphone. It is a little bit different in the sense that it doesn't have any onboard features other than it transmits from the microphone to your computer either via Bluetooth, and you have to use the Shure app, or to the transmitter, which is in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. I'm sorry, the receiver. So the receiver picks that up, and you can see the way the receiver's mount is designed to go on top of a camera or some kind of cold shoe mount. So it is a pure microphone, and it's probably the closest to a true lavalier style microphone, one that clips on. It's not heavy, won't pull down your shirt. Again, if you use one of these DJI mics, you probably won't be able to see it too much here, but you can see it kind of pulls my shirt down like this. And this is a thin shirt, but again, like I was talking before, if you're wearing a thin shirt, this is going to tug away. The other difference is with the Shure Move mic is that it doesn't have any external outputs, and it doesn't do any onboard recording. That's what's nice about these DJI mics, is that they will record in addition to sending to the receiver. So you have a backup track on the transmitter. That's really nice. It also allows you to plug in external cable and run a super small, thin mic closer to your mouth and not have this thing kind of weighing down. So I still personally prefer this style, but like I said, I have yet to try the Shure Move mic, and maybe eventually I will. My big thing with Shure is this device here. This is the MVX2U, and I did a review on this not too long ago. This thing actually, it works with a traditional microphone like the RE20, and what it does is it replaces the XLR output, the big fat cable that comes out of it, with a USB-C. So you can get a really nice microphone, and this thing plugs into the back of the microphone, and what comes out are 2 ports, USB-C and then a monitor, a real-time monitor, so you can hear what your microphone hears in real time. It's got gain settings, it's got compression settings, it's got filters, all that stuff's controllable via the app. So if you're looking at something like this, you don't need to invest in a full-on XLR, a way to convert the XLR into USB, because that's all done on this little guy, and it's super portable. It's solid. It's made out of metal. And for my money, if I was going to take one of these mics on the road, I would bring this with me and just plug into my laptop that way. And then I get the quality that I expect out of this microphone, even when I'm on the road. So this is called the MVX2U. I do not have it on the screen here, but like I said, I do have a review, and I'll put it on our YouTube page, if it's not there already by the time you see this, just so you can see how that works. Okay, going onward here, some other recommendations for hardware is lights. And what kinds of things do I use for lights? In my studio tour, I referred to the Elgato lights. There's a company called Newer that's spelled, I didn't spell it wrong. It's actually, it looks like Newer, but it's Newer. And then Nanlite is probably the top end. And I was just pricing those out before I started recording this. And Nanlite, they look amazing. I think that their build quality is exceptional. And they have all kinds of different lights. They're a lighting company. You're just going to pay the price for it. So, but you can see this, this guy, that guy, right? Let me pull it back here. This is the key light from Elgato. And then in the front, the big square color one, that's basically a panel light from Newer. Now, Newer also makes like the lights that I have that are illuminating the sides here, like that light that's back over here. That's a Newer light. It's a tube light. I use it for accenting my lights. And so the key light is only the white spectrum. So it's designed to light your skin. And so you're going to want to have at least one or two of those lights. And you can go with the Elgato lights. There are competitors out there that make similar types of lights. It's totally up to you. I would say that if you remember back to the studio video, the mesh pattern on the lights, the big round lights that I had, those, they don't make them. Elgato doesn't make them specifically. There are some third parties out there that make them. And of course you can do it yourself. Just go to your local craft store and you can cut up your own mesh pattern and tape it to or strap it to one of the Elgato lights. But that keeps your light focused. And I would do something like that. It's kind of a DIY project, and it's far cheaper than buying those third-party products, which are ridiculously expensive. I just don't get it. But anyway, that's me. I know it takes time. I used to create a bunch of stuff myself, so I'm not knocking the people who make it, but they are very, very expensive for what they are. And then the Nanlite is actually that's the one that's right here at the top. Now, they also make tubes. They make a bunch of different lights. Their lights are really a force to be reckoned with. They are, again, probably the best in the industry. And those lights right there are similar to the ones that I have up here. I wouldn't necessarily advise going with the high-end lights to get started. You can always use them as accent lights or backup lights in the future. You start with the cheaper, like something from Newer. That's just, for me, for my money, it's just a way to get into the game, but you don't have to fork over like 4 non-light tubes. 4 of them is over $1,000. It's a lot of money. Now, granted, they look amazing and they are by far some of the highest quality products out there, but you are going to pay a price for those lights. All right, so that's the lighting. And then talk about cameras next. So I've been using my iPhone with camo from the get-go with this lesson series. It certainly works really well, and so far I've had no problems with it. Camo is rock solid. I haven't had any issues with it. My iPhone 14's camera lenses are perfect. The blur settings is a very, very slight blur. Inside camo, I can get similar depth effects like I have here with the FX30. So I can set my color temperature. I can set my white balance, all that stuff. So I may stick with it. It's certainly cheaper than buying another camera. Because, somebody like me is going to be like, I need another one like this one. And that's easily a $2,000 investment. Easily. So I don't know if that's a smart way for you, but camo and I do have a discount code. I'll put it at the bottom of this page. So you can use that discount code to get a discount off of Camo because I like it that much. I talked to the folks at Camo, and they're willing to give the students of this lesson series a discount on it. So take advantage of it. At least download the trial, get it working, and if you like it, you'll be able to get some money off, which would be really cool. Okay, the Sony EV10, which is right down here, this guy here, that's the Sony EV10 it's unbeatable. The price point keeps it relatively affordable, sub $1,000 range. Cameras are expensive, so just get used to that. If you're going to get a nice camera, expect to pay for it. But you can get a nice camera for, I mean, you think about your iPhone and all the software going on in that, and that's easily over $1,000 in most cases. So this focuses on image quality, throughput. It's a 4K camera, but you also need to use it with this guy that's right here, the Cam Link. And the Cam Link is a video capture board. Elgato makes it. There are alternatives, but they tend to get a little more expensive. The Cam Link you can usually catch on sale for less than $90 or so, and I would recommend getting it. Also, the used market for the Cam Links is pretty good too, so you can probably find yourself with one of those. And what it does is it takes the HDMI connection out of your camera, digitizes it, and then sends that digital image into your computer, and then that's what comes through on Ecamm. So that's what you're seeing right now. This is going through my FX30 into a Cam Link and then into my Mac Mini. It works. It's worked flawlessly pretty much this entire series. So I would, the technology is a bit dated, and I'm sure we're going to see additional technological developments in this department as more and more people get involved in the creator space, the making things for YouTube, for presentations for your company and clients. So ultimately, if I was going to go with upgrades, I would start with my microphones first, and then I would go to my camera, and then to lighting. And the only reason I say that is that the lighting, you can usually use household fixtures to do most of your indirect lighting. But when you start wanting to get some consistent looks to it, and you don't want to have to use the natural lighting from outside, especially if you're recording at nighttime, then having a couple of light sources. So the key lights from Elgato are a relatively inexpensive way to get into it. And then you can go from there to the newer or with the parabolic dishes if you want to use that, the diffusers, the soft boxes on them. So that's it. I mean, there are tons of cameras, and honestly, I can't go through all of them. And so I'm just trying to think of it in terms of, as somebody who's getting started, where would I go if I had a limited budget and but I wanted to look my best? Start first by sounding your best, and then worry about looking your best. After all, this is all going out on the internet anyway, and sound is probably one of the ones that gets compressed the most, and you want to make sure that it's not garbage in, garbage out. It's, good quality in, and then you'll get decent quality out, just the way the internet works in terms of compression. Okay. All right. So these are a couple of things. So the Stream Deck, I talked about that. The Stream Deck, which is dead center here, that guy, I honestly wouldn't recommend using Ecamm without it. You can, I wouldn't recommend it without it. And here's why. We've been clicking around the interface, and there are easy ways to set up hotkeys to most of the stuff inside Ecamm, but there's really nothing that compares to having, a button that you can press, and that does the same thing as, issuing a command in Ecamm. So start record, pause recording, stop recording, changing the lights. For instance, like I said, I could go through here and I could, just press one button and turn off my lights, which you can't see. But You can certainly see my hair light if I turn that off. See? And I'm doing that all from my Stream Deck. Advancing scenes, going back scenes, changing your microphone input, all that fun stuff you can do from the Stream Deck. It's way configurable and it's just very, very convenient. So the Stream Deck Plus is what I use along with the virtual Stream Deck. So if you want to get started with a Stream Deck but don't want to actually buy a device, you can buy their software and you can turn your iPhone into a Stream Deck, or if you have an iPad laying around, the iPad can be a Stream Deck as well. It's a touch interface. You don't get the tactile feedback of actually depressing the button, but you get all the other functionality. You get the functionality of executing a command, or what's cool about the Stream Deck is that it can essentially store a macro or a series of commands inside a single button, and that's awesome. You can't, if you're trying to, for instance, I want to press one button and get all my lights in my studio to come on, set the right color, set the right intensity, and be ready for me, and all in one button. And then when I'm done, hit another button, and then that all goes back to normal or shuts off completely. The Stream Deck can do all that stuff. So, and the Stream Deck, of course, plays very well with other products from Elgato. For instance, in the top here, that's the Elgato prompter. And you notice the screen down here at the bottom. That screen is built into the prompter. So you remember we had the lesson on teleprompters. The way this one works is that it has a built-in screen. You put whatever camera you want, including your iPhone, behind the teleprompter area. So on the back side over here, and the camera sees through this mirror right here. So the mirror is reflecting. This is taking a lot of effort here. The mirror is reflecting this screen up into the mirror, right? And then that mirror is going out this way to your eyes. And that's so you can put your camera behind it, and it looks like you're looking at the camera, but you're looking at a mirror, and the mirror can display a transcript, or not a transcript. The mirror can display a script, or it can display other people. So if you're on a Zoom conference, you can see other people there, and it looks like you're looking at them, and that's really cool. So the prompter is not a very expensive product. And because it includes the screen, it is an option for you because it's like an all-in-one solution. And it also interfaces with the Stream Deck. So you can start and stop your script. You can advance. You can scroll through your script. You can do all kinds of stuff. The teleprompter software is only on version 1.9 at this point, and I'm sure they're going to continue to improve it. It's pretty rudimentary now. I mean, you can put in a full script, but some of the features like being able to format text, those are not there yet, but it's getting close. And then the other option is to go with this one here. This is a standard teleprompter. So it's got the mirror, but down below here is an iPad or some kind of display, and then you can see the camera in the very back way over there. So that's what I use here. I'm using one from Newer. This one is from Glide Gear. Either one is going to require a screen. So they're not as expensive as a teleprompter. They're probably anywhere from $100 to $150, but then you need to get the screen. And if you already don't have an iPad, then you're going to have to get one. And that can be a bit of a pain. So it ends up costing more in the end. But if you get a full-size iPad, then you've got a 10-inch screen versus I believe it's a 9-inch screen on the prompter. So ultimately, it comes up to you. And if you have questions on any of this stuff, just ask away. I'll be happy to provide feedback on things I own. I don't, as I've said multiple times throughout this series, everything that I have in my studio, I have paid for. I've not been told to talk about something. There's no product placement. There's no advertising of any kind. And if I ever do something like that, I'll always make sure you know ahead of time that, somebody sent me something so that I could review it and give you an honest review, because I'm not in the market to sell you anything other than learning. If I have something that I know is going to make your life easier, I'll let you know about it for sure. Okay, so let's go over to the laptop quick and let's take a look at some of the places where you can get more information should you need to. Of course, let me switch over here. Of course, you can go to YouTube. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there, plenty. So you don't need to use YouTube necessarily. But that said, all of the training videos that I've seen that are of any kind of value, they're either going to be training videos that are in depth and there's a charge for them, or the free ones are kind of like a high level, not getting down necessarily to the nitty gritty of things, but gives you a taste of whatever it is that they're trying to talk about. But in terms of getting support, getting help, there's a couple places to go. First and foremost, as much as I hate to say it, going to Facebook. Okay, so here inside Facebook, there I am. And then if I go to Ecamm Live Community, if you just do a search on Facebook, you go to the Ecamm Live Community. And this is where you're going to, if you feel comfortable working inside of Facebook, by all means, this would be the place to go, because there's an ongoing discussion about various things that are going on. But like I've said before, this is just a stream of consciousness. So you need to, if you need support on a specific thing, the best thing to do is to do a search and then search for the term that you're looking for, and there'll be some posts that inevitably pop up. And if it's something that you haven't seen, then you can write a short post here and say, hey, I got this and I'm having some issues with it, and somebody may have the same problem and may be able to give you some pointers as to how to fix that problem. Maybe not, just really depends. I would definitely start here. If you're not on Facebook or you have an aversion to Facebook, first of all, I don't blame you. Secondly, I would look at Discord as another alternative. And we've looked at that in the last lesson. But if I go back to in Discord here, if I'm looking for specific information, like for instance, if I'm on their beta program, and you can be on it too. If you want to use the bleeding edge version of Ecamm, you can. It's traditionally pretty stable, unlike a lot of companies that release beta product that is god awful and is something that you want to not touch. Ecamm, generally speaking, has been pretty stable in the beta department. So you can join the beta group just by downloading the beta. I think it's just ecamm.com/beta. But if you go to the beta group here, if you don't see it, you can request access to it from the admins. And every now and then you'll get updates from the like here, it's like, here you go, ecamm.com/beta. So, Katie's really great about anytime there's a new update, she'll post it here. And if there's chat about the beta, for instance, if somebody's having a problem with something and they don't know whether or not it's related to the beta or if it's something else, you can look here. And the best part about it is that it is very much it's a collaborative tool, in that there are dozens and dozens of users that all work together to solve problems on this platform. They do on Facebook as well, but Facebook just doesn't feel as it doesn't feel as real time to me. But for instance, here, I think I can show the member list and you can see how many members are part of the Ecamm Live community on Discord right now. It's substantial. It's not that big at the moment, but that's up to you. You know, this is a place where you could go. And the thing that I would caution you, though, is if you post it on Facebook, don't cross-post to Discord. Same thing goes. If you post into Discord, pretty much everybody that could be of help to you is also going to look at Discord. So if you cross-post it, that's generally considered, bad form. So I wouldn't do that. That specifically comes to the live or the beta program. So if you go back here, I'm going to just go back and go to the Ecamm. You'll notice there's Ecamm Live community and then Ecamm Live beta inside Facebook. So this is designed specifically for beta testing the new features that are coming out in Ecamm. This group does not talk about current release issues. That's all done in the main Facebook group. So Discord already has that, right? You've got the main section within the channels in the main section, and then you've got the beta section, which we were just looking at. So here, a lot of people get confused. They post something that's happening in beta on the main forum. That almost inevitably happens. They'll go to the main forum. They'll say, hey, I just downloaded beta such and such, and I'm not seeing this. And then they will get moderated very quickly by the crack team of moderators that Ecamm has working on Facebook and on Discord, and they will move things around pretty quickly. So pay attention to the rules. Make sure that you're adhering to those rules, and everything should be fine. And Ecamm is also very, very, very big about making the space comfortable for everybody that is involved. So if you start dissing somebody's work or you start calling people names or whatever, you're going to get a talking to, and then you'll pretty much get kicked out if you keep up the behavior. So I would avoid that. We all want to be keyboard warriors, but at the same time, you have to give people the respect that they're due, even if you think that the question that they might have asked is not intelligent. So, okay, so that's where I would go for any kind of quick support. And that, frankly, that's where I started. I started in Facebook and on YouTube. Two other great sources of training information outside of the Ecamm network is there are two other great trainers that I follow closely. One is Alec Johnson. He's with TakeOneTech.io. And then Adrian Salisbury, and he has his Ecamm Live Academy, and he also does lots of quick trainings on YouTube. So both great resources. If you're looking for stuff that maybe I don't have on this platform, you're looking for more information, it's a great place to start. That said, if you are looking for things that I don't have and you'd like me to produce those, this would be a great opportunity for you after you've watched this entire series to let me know. I already have a couple of quickies that I've got up here that I'm going to do, but wanted to get through this initial series because there's a lot of people. It's clear that based on the forum activity that I see in both Facebook and on Discord, there's a lot of people that have questions about some of the very basics of Ecamm. And so I thought, this would be a good place to start. Okay, so back over here. Let me just look at my notes. You know what? Well, of course. If you have any comments, feedback, or criticisms of this particular series, I'm always open mind. I don't mind being told that, I didn't like this or I wish you would have done this. That's fine. I can't possibly think of every little scenario, so I try to do my best to cover as much as possible. And given that this was over a 14-hour lesson plan, inevitably some things might get left out. So give me your feedback, because I'm always going to be updating this course. Ecamm's always changing. The types of features that are available to standard and pro users will be changing. It's an ever-evolving process, and I appreciate you taking the time to give me that feedback. Also, since you've completed all 14 lessons, you will get a certificate. It's a digital certificate that says that you've completed the course. I will sign it and I'll put your name on it, and you can use that as, you know, I'm now a certified Ecamm user, and I have enough knowledge to be dangerous now. So that said, I'm gonna wrap it here, and look for me online. I got plenty more to do, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, just basically seeing you guys, what you can do. And, you know, hopefully that out of the group that's watching this material, that there's a few that are just really stand out users and really making a difference in the Ecamm community, because we always love seeing people succeed when they start using the software. So thanks for your time. Thanks for your trust in me, your faith in me, and of course the investment in the course. I really do appreciate it. And as always, remember, stream to the world. Take care. See you around. Bye.